got a big crowd on set. Mark Simone, WOR radio host, and Liz Peek, syndicated columnist, Fox News contributor. Two of my favorites of the favorites. Couple things, kids. Biden getting clobbered in this Washington Post ABC poll. I mean, just clobbered, Liz. His approval is at 36%. On the economy, it's also 36%. And both Trump and DeSantis beat him. What you thinking?
It's just a brutal poll. And honestly, you begin to wonder how Biden could choose this moment to come out and start his second run, right? What could be worse? This is the worst approval rating any president's ever had in their first term. Think about that, of anybody, ever. Jimmy Carter or Donald Trump, who was always talked about by the liberal media as being vastly unpopular. This is the most unpopular president we've ever had, for good reason, because everything about this poll shows he's losing ground with every major demographic that elected him. He's underwater on all kinds of issues, including the economy. The most hilarious thing in the poll, and I don't want to take too much time, is when asked which president did better on the economy, Trump or Biden, Trump by a landslide. And this is after Biden has spent the last 2 years talking about how awful the economy was when he took it over.
54% Trump, 36% Biden. I just happen to have that figure.
Yeah.
But you're right. And the economy's done nothing in the last year or so. Mark Simone, I think these scandals, I know they're all alleged scandals, although some of them may be coming to a head. There may be the U.S. attorney from Delaware may have something to say. Comer's going to have a press conference, I guess, Wednesday on this pay-to-play Ukrainian corruption when Biden was vice president. But I think these scandals are hurting him.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, this is serious. When he can't even win in the fake polls, the rigged polls, he can't even win. This is serious stuff. And I think this was authorized. You know, these media companies, these newspapers, they're very careful to rig those metrics. I think they got the go-ahead to put out the real numbers. It's kind of like somewhere in the Democratic world, they're saying abandon ship. We'll look for somebody else. These scandals are coming, the Ozarks, all this stuff, and I don't think he can survive it. You know, you can't deny the laptop anymore. That fake letter from those 51 intelligence chiefs, that was rigging a presidential debate.
This was the Blinken, I call it the political dirty tricks, Blinken, who won't admit to anything, even though Mike Morell said under oath that it was Blinken who started the whole thing, and he becomes Secretary of State. Political dirty trickster becomes Secretary of State. I mean, that's a very bad thing.
And he said, this is to fix the debate. This is going to come up with the debate. We need to rig the debate. You had a moderator jump in and cut off Trump as soon as Biden talked about the letter. That's election tampering.
And it worked.
It worked.
I mean, that's really the infuriating thing. It worked, all this stuff that they did. I would say, to your point, Mark, very interesting idea that this was sort of a rigged poll. More Republicans than Democrats were polled. When you've ever seen a survey that had more Republicans than... I know. No one's talking about it.
Washington
Look at the numbers.
Post ABC poll?
Yep.
Wow.
I know. Not by a big margin, but by a few.
So this is a dump Biden campaign.
I think it was authorized.
The question is, for whom? Who's the next person?
Well, good question.
Who they got?
So they got you got Robert Kennedy Jr. in there polling
Yes.
around 20. What's the other one? Williamson, whatever she was.
Marianne Williamson.
Marianne Williamson. Who's the next? So what are they going to do? Who will the Washington? Let's go to that. Who will the Washington Post try to push?
All right, these are crazy answers, but the Democrats actually think these are great candidates. They'll push Michelle Obama. They'll push Pete Buttigieg, maybe even Gavin Newsom. But he was married to Kimberly Guilfoyle, so I imagine she knows a lot about this guy and will tell Trump.
That is also true. Liz, are you ready to go down to the Ozarks with us? Hunter Biden meets the Ozarks. He's going to have a problem there. The judge is tough as nails, and it's the Ozarks. They have a different value system than Bel Air or Los Angeles or Washington, D.C. She wants all of his financial records, all the deals, all the LLCs, so he can pay for this illegitimate kid.
Who thought this was a good idea? Who thought, in what part of his brain did Hunter Biden say to himself, I'm going to go and sue this woman over child support because I want all my financial records revealed?
Yeah.
I mean, what special kind of stupid, right? I mean, really, it's an unbelievable thing. So he's in trouble now because it looks to me like this judge is really going to press the case. He really wants the information, too much redacted material. They are not kidding around. They want to know about all that stuff. which obviously plays right into Comer's investigation. What an idiotic thing.
Governor Huckabee, former governor of Arkansas, of course, he said this judge is very smart. She has federal experience, local experience, and she's not going to let go of Hunter Biden. She will not let go of him. Mark, Congressman Comer is supposed to have a press conference. Subpoena date to the FBI, I think, is Wednesday, so he's going to have some kind of news conference. They're talking to the whistleblower, and they're saying, I mean, the allegations are it was a pay for play on policy. It wasn't China, it was Ukraine, is what they're saying, when Joe Biden was vice president. If any part of that is true, it will be devastating. I mean, that's an impeachable offense.
Oh, I think it's true. He said, I never dealt with my son's business partners. We saw them playing golf. We saw a picture of them in a private room in a restaurant for 2 hours. These 12 guys, who did he think they were? If Hunter said they're friends of mine, they're 20 years older and they don't speak English.
But this is money for influence peddling. I mean, it's pay for play on policy. This is a new realm. This is worse than just saying he didn't know them. Of course he knew them. He knew the whole thing's going. But if they, as vice president, he was bribed for a policy issue, that's an incredible thing to come out.
Gee, this doesn't sound like the Joe Biden I know.
So you think it's serious?
Absolutely. Multiple meetings. You could see the appointments they had in the White House, the visits, the emails. Thank you for introducing me to your father. Guilty. Absolutely guilty.
One last thing. Got to do it quickly. We're running over. Akil is yelling. Why would Bill Barr, good guy, friend of mine, former colleague, cabinet colleague, etc., writes a wonderful book. At least 90% of that book is in praise of Donald Trump's policies, not the election grievances, but everything else. So Bill gives a speech in Cleveland and just says, if you want Trump policies, Trump can't do them. I don't understand that, because Trump already demonstrated he can get it done. And Bill Barr approved of it in his book. What would make him change?
I don't know. I heard him make the same speech virtually the other night before the Hudson Institute. So I think he's on this rant. I don't know whether he is throwing his lot in with Ron DeSantis and saying, let's have someone who has shown himself to be a good executive, who actually will, has the same philosophy, but will make these policies work. He's also sort of dinging the idea that no one of quality is going to go work for Donald Trump. I think that's pretty insulting to, frankly, the people who did work for him, including himself. So I don't know why he's on this, but I always suspect something, and I think maybe he's got ties elsewhere.
Quick thought, real quick.
He's a nice man, but when you get cut off those dinner party lists, you'll do anything to get back on.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That whole book was, Bill Barr is a very good man. You're right. Anyway, we got to go. Mark Simone, Liz Peek. Thank you, kids. Terrific.